Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been literally forever. I was like, oh, I'm gonna be posting once a week. Here we are. It's been like 2 weeks. I'm so sorry. I just been really focused on my podcast, which if you haven't checked it out, please go check it out. It's called Glam and Gossip. It's featured on my page. You can find it if you go on my channel page. And I'm basically spilling all the story times and all the gossip in podcast form. We'll definitely try to post more on my own YouTube. I get distracted with other things, but I know you guys love the story times, and I've already talked about the story time on the podcast, but this is just gonna be just me and you. I hope you guys enjoy this video. This story time is basically about a roommate sent literally from hell. Okay, she was horrible. I've never had an experience like this living with someone before, and because of it, no one will ever be staying at my house ever again. So if you know me, don't even ask, because I will say no unless I'm like super close with them. You're not mooching off me, you're not staying at my house. Sorry. No, I'm traumatized. I'm not doing that again. I guess we just need to get straight into it, because there's no way I can start this. Alright, so basically how I met this girl, she DM'd me on Instagram. I had quite a decent amount of following at the time. By decent, I mean maybe I had like 100k on TikTok, maybe like 20k on Instagram. And this girl reaches out to me. I think she's a much smaller content creator than me. But she seems really nice. She kind of opens up to me about her experiences, and we call each other, and she seems honestly really great. We get along on the phone, but honestly, I get along with anyone I meet. So I've realized now that just because I get along with someone does not mean that I need to be friends with them, because let's just say it did not turn out so fun. So anyways, she wants to pursue content creation. I think it's really cute. I'm like, yes, let's collab together. She's a very loud personality, very obnoxious, very loud. In my head, I'm like, you know, she'd be great to work with, I guess. Like, she'd be someone great to collab with. She has the energy, the motivation, whatever. So we film a few videos together on YouTube, on TikTok, and it all goes great, honestly. I just realized kind of while I'm filming with her that she is not someone that I would really become super close friends with, just because she was just, oh, sorry, my face hurts. You know when you have acne and your face just hurts every time you touch it? That is my life story. We hung out, we filmed. I was like, it's fine. She's just not someone I would hang out with all the time. I think at one point I had actually went over to her house, and I think that was like the first red flag for me, was how she treated her parents. Her parents were really supportive of her. She kind of didn't want to go to school. I don't know if at this time she had an OnlyFans, but that is kind of what she wanted to go for, and her parents were obviously not okay with that. But she would just get a little crazy, I guess, with her parents, and get into these big fights with them when they don't care what she wears. They're just like, don't wear it. Her mom's like, don't wear it around your dad, or like when we have relatives over, don't wear it. Like, they didn't really care what she owned or what she bought. Like, she had some interesting pieces in her closet. Also, her room was gross. Like, I remember she like spilled something on her bed, and she just like wiped it with her hand and left it there. And I'm like, because we were eating, she just kind of wiped it with like her hand, and I'm like, babe, I think you need a towel for that. But I thought that was a little weird. I invited her out for Halloween with my roommates. So we had hung out a couple times at that point, but like, I think it was a few months since I last saw her. I have a nail appointment that I'm getting ready to go to, and then I get a call from this girl. Mina, you have to help me. Like, she's like freaking out, and I'm just like, this girl's just a little over dramatic. So I just assume that she's being, once again, over dramatic. It's not a big deal. She's screaming, Mina, oh my god, my parents are kicking me out. They're disowning me. That word triggers me. It triggers me when people say it for like no reason, I guess. She wasn't saying, you know, my parents are kicking me out. This, like, she was She's saying my parents are disowning me, and that's something that I'm obviously very much known for. And I met her parents and they're so sweet, so I'm just like, there must be something going on. I know this girl's not getting kicked out, but whatever. She basically tells me that she needs me to pick her up because her parents are kicking her out because of her OnlyFans. I'm kind of going for like a Latina baddie makeup look today. She calls me, she asked me to pick her up, and guys, she lives 30 minutes away. And before you guys come at me for saying that 30 minutes is not a long time, this was in a small town, okay? So 30 minutes of driving is not 30 minutes of driving in Toronto where it's mostly traffic. So 30 minutes was like 30 minutes driving. It was a lot of gas. It's equivalent to driving maybe like an hour in Toronto, okay? So yes, for someone that was really annoying. Mind you, I also had a nail appointment, so I was gonna be late to that as well. So I had other errands to run as well. So like this person calling me freaking out over something that I know is not serious. It is annoying to drive 30 minutes to go pick up this person. It's 30 minutes there and then 30 minutes back to mine. I was annoyed because people were like, wow, 30 minutes isn't even that long. You're being dramatic. Like, no, 30 minutes was long for an ungrateful hoe, okay? So I pick her up. And guys, I look at her Instagram and she's posting on her Instagram story as I'm on my way to go pick her up, moving to LA, California, like, can't wait to see you. I'm sorry, what? Is this a person that's actually stressed that they're getting kicked out? They're getting disowned? It was just like as if she was making a mockery out of it. And I was just confused. Like, why is this girl posting like this? Anyways, so I pick her up and on the phone, she seemed very distressed. So that's why obviously I came. But then in person, she was fine. She's like, oh yeah, like my parents like found out about my OnlyFans and like they don't want me to have it. And they basically like kicked me out. And I was just like, I was just kind of dumbfounded, I guess. And not that I didn't believe her, but I was just like, I just assumed she would figure things out herself. So I was like, at this point she had a boyfriend whose house she was staying at a lot, and I think her parents were also annoyed about this. But so I just assumed that I was dropping her off at his house. And so I asked her, I'm like, so are we going to your man's house? Like, what's your plan? Sorry, I have this like fluff in my hair. So I'm like, what's your plan? And she's like, oh, I was kind of hoping we could stay at yours just for a couple days. You know, I really need your help. Like, I really just need to figure things out. What the fuck am I supposed to say to that? Of course, I'm like, you know what? Sure, stay at mine for a couple of days, but like, it can't be like a long-term thing. I was living in a student house. I was living in a student house with a bunch of other girls. It's not like I had my own separate space for her to stay. It would literally be my room. And I was in university at the time, okay? I had classes to attend to. I had work. Like, I was very busy at the time, and I knew she wouldn't be the most pleasing person to be around while I'm doing all this work, especially because I know how loud and obnoxious she is. So I'm like, oh, like, it's hard for me to say no to people. So I was just kind of like, oh, okay, but like, let's figure something out so, you know, you're not staying there forever. Like, a couple days is fine. And she's like, oh my God, thank you so much. So she comes to my house and she sits at my makeup table, and I'm sitting on my bed, and I'm just kind of doing my schoolwork, and she just asks if it's okay for her to use my makeup. And I'm like, sure, go for it. Like, I don't care. At this point, I was getting like free makeup from companies, but not like an overwhelming amount, you know? So she's sitting at my makeup desk. She's kind of making a mess of my table, which, guys, I was so patient with it. So she's using my makeup. She's making a mess out of everything. She's calling her friends, and even some of her friends are like, yo, you're so disrespectful. Like, I would be so mad if you were at my makeup desk right now using my stuff. But again, I said it was okay, so I didn't mind. There was a Tatcha water cream that she had asked to use. And guys, if you don't know, the Tatcha water cream is very expensive, okay? This is like $100 moisturizer, and you need very little. And I was sent this product because Tatcha wanted to work with me. They wanted to do a collab video, and so she asked if she could use it. I said sure, just don't use too much, it's for a video. I'm doing my work. She is calling people, she is playing music out loud, music that I don't even like. I don't listen to that kind of music. She is calling her sugar daddies, being like, babe, like, you need to help me pay rent. I don't know how I'm gonna pay rent, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, why isn't she staying at her sugar daddy's house? Why is she at my house? But it's fine. Anyway, so she's doing all these things. So rude. I don't even say anything. I'm just like kind of holding it in because, sorry, I have to fix my posture. Every time I like slouch, I'm like, stand up straight. So I'm thinking to myself, you know, this is just gonna be like a couple days. This is not gonna turn into a long stay. And also after this, I'm like, yo, I can't have her for another day. I'm gonna ask her to leave. So after I'm done my work, I sit her down and I'm like, let's figure out what you're gonna do. She's pretty set on, you know, I can't go back to my family, it's not safe for me, etc, etc, etc. So I'm like, okay, let's look into what you can do. How much money do you make off your OnlyFans? Guys, this girl made $100 a month off of her OnlyFans. And I was like, okay, so this is definitely not sustainable. I was like, you need to find another job. So that's like the first thing you need to do. You need to find work. And she's like, well, I used to work at Starbucks, but they didn't let me have nails, so I quit. And I'm like, well, you're gonna have to work somewhere. So we look into jobs, and then we looked into housing. Like, I was looking at cheap housing and she was looking at 1-bedroom apartments alone. I was like, babe, I live in a shared house right now. I'm broke and I can't afford to live in my own apartment at this time. You know, looking at these super expensive houses. Oh my God, I want to live here. Oh my God, I want to live here. And I'm like, this girl is an idiot. Like, she is not taking this seriously at all. And then we call some like support groups that could offer some financial assistance to people in her situation. So she's calling all these people, and then I have like a serious conversation with her. Her mom had actually messaged me at this point as well, and basically said that she had never kicked her out and she basically left on her own. They just want her to stop her OnlyFans, just out of respect for them living, you know, in their home, which totally understandable. You know, I don't want my kid filming that stuff in my house, excuse me, like, no. And so they basically just asked her to not do it, and she disagreed and had a temper tantrum and left the house. But they do want her to come home. She basically told me, can you please make sure she does not smoke any weed? And she basically said if she smokes weed, she'll go into psychosis. Like, we're really serious about that. And for me personally, I have no problem with recreational drugs. Like, I don't care. I don't personally smoke weed, but if my friends do, I don't care. But I had told her, you know what? I don't want to be involved in any sort of mess where you get into some sort of trouble and then I'm involved. Like, I just don't need that in my life right now. So while you're staying at my house, my one rule is you are not allowed to smoke weed. So that was my one rule for her. I'm foreshadowing right now for what is about to happen. And at this point, we had actually gone and bought her weed. Like, I drove her to the weed store because she said she needed some and she was anxious. But then I got that text from her mom after, so I had asked her, yo, can you like not smoke that weed that we went and got? And she's like, yeah, no, oh my God, don't worry. She had already smoked it at this point as well already. So I was just like, hey, like, just don't do it again while you're here. I just don't want to get into any trouble. We go to sleep. Guys, she is so freaking loud at night when she sleeps. Oh my goodness, she was snoring so loud. I could not sleep in my bed. I had to go sleep on the couch. It was the most uncomfortable sleep of my life. I wake up, I have to get ready for work. I come back from work after a long shift and I go into my room, and guys, it's a dump. Okay, it's a mess. I'm not like, there was clothes everywhere, okay? There was clothes in my sink. There's a t-shirt that I had just recently bought in my fucking sink. How? I'm sorry, I've never even done that myself. Like, how does one get a t-shirt in the sink? Like, I don't understand. Why not on the floor? Why not anywhere else? Why in my sink? So I'm just so pissed off. My Tatcha water cream that I talked about earlier that I said she could use a little bit of, 1/4 of it is gone. Literally got a chunk of it out, and I was so annoyed. Not even if she had done, like if she had done this after I had filmed the deal, I wouldn't have cared, but she did this before I even had a chance to use the product. Yes, I was very, very annoyed. My makeup table's a mess, and this girl, I don't know where she is. And she texts me, hey, can you pick me up? I'm at the mall. And I'm like, oh, great. Like, this girl is at the mall. She's kicked out. She has no money to her name. And she, you know, is just casually out at the mall. And she's like, don't worry, I didn't buy anything. And I'm like, great. Like, it's so nice that you had the decency of not buying anything. It's not like she could even afford to buy anything, honestly. Like, I don't even know what the food situation was. Like, I don't remember if I had Uber Eated her food or like I already had food made at home that she ate. But regardless, she asked me to go pick her up. I pick her up. She said she was like hanging out with, or she's planning to hang out with her man. So she's telling me she's meeting up with her man. She's saying she's too anxious to talk about, you know, her living situation. She's like, it's making me anxious, because I essentially had told her, you know, you're not making enough money off of your OnlyFans. I would just go back home, okay, suck it up, work a regular job, and then once you grow a decent following on like your Instagram and your TikTok, then you can choose to open an OnlyFans, because then you'll be able to translate those followers into your OnlyFans content. But like right now, you're obviously not making a ton of money off of it. You need to go home. It's basically your only choice now, because you don't have a job, you can't afford to do anything else. And I also said, I can't have you stay at my house any longer, because it's just a huge distraction to me and I can't get any work done. I don't have like a spare room or a basement that you can stay in. Like this, like I'm not able to focus on my schoolwork. And it's funny because she kind of turned it on me. She was kind of like, oh, like if this was the other way around, I would have been so supportive of you. I would have like let you stay as long as you needed at my house. And I was like, okay, like that's irrelevant to me. You're not someone that's super close to me, and you're clearly not respectful of my space. Why do I need to be nice to you and let you stay at my house? So I'm giving her these options, and she's kind of guilt tripping me, being like, oh, I would have done more for you, etc. And I'm like, that's great, but you're not. So what now, you know? So anyway, she says she's gonna go meet up with her boyfriend, and I'm like, whatever. Her boyfriend picks her up. I don't understand why she can't stay with him, first of all. What kind of boyfriend is that? And then I'm basically telling my roommates about my frustrations and what's going on. And they reveal to me, they're like, oh, like, you know, she was smoking, and she like basically, so I don't know if people use this term, but she basically said she made the house dank. Like she basically hotboxed the house. Like it smelled disgusting in the house. And mind you, I live with 6 girls. I could have gotten in trouble if these weren't my friends and I had told them that she was staying with me. Like I could have gotten kicked out of my own rental for having this girl over. She made the house smell like absolute shit. She was smoking weed, and I was fuming when I found this out, because I was like, this is the one thing that I asked you not to do, and you just blatantly disrespected me. First of all, my room is trashed. You trashed my PR. You trashed my brand collaboration thing that I needed to do, like my Tatcha water cream. You didn't let me get a nice full 8 hours of sleep because you were just snoring so loud. And just to top it off, you ignored the one rule that I had in my house. No, thank you. Like I was so mad. So I text her and I'm like, you disrespected me, etc., etc. You need to leave my house. I've packed your things, because I literally packed your stuff, and I was like, you can take your stuff and you can go. Or actually, I think I offered to drive her home. I don't actually remember if I ended up driving her home or if her man drove her home. I actually don't remember. I might have driven her home, but I'm not sure. Anyways, so she's so apologetic. She's like, I'm so sorry. Like, but like, why would your roommates not just tell me to stop? Like, why would they just snitch and tell you? Like, they could have told me to stop. And I was like, it's not their responsibility to tell you not to do something in my house. Like, they don't know who you are. Like, they've hung out with you one time. Like, they're not gonna snitch, or they're not gonna come and confront you like that. Like, that's weird. I wouldn't want to do that. And what, you wanted them to hide it from me? Like, you were never gonna tell me. You had a chance to tell me, but you never told me. So yeah, I think I drive her, I don't remember, but that's that. And she ends up going home, and that's it. Like, she just had this little vacation at my house, made a mess of things, and she just went back home all happy. And she's like, oh, me and my dad had a conversation and we're good now. Like, we had a conversation and everything's good. Amazing. You ruined my life for the last 2 days, and you just go home as if nothing ever happened. So that's basically what had happened. And fast forward to a few months later, I make a story time about this on my TikTok because it's a funny fucking story, okay? Like, this girl was crazy. I was like, people are gonna eat this shit up. So I get a call from an unknown number from the US. I pick it up, and well, I didn't pick it up at first, but it was like spam calling me. So I pick it up, I'm like, hello? And this girl's like, I know where you work. I'm gonna get you fired from your job if you don't take that video down. She's speaking in like this like New Jersey accent. So she's like, I'm gonna get you fired from your job. Who the fuck do you think you are? You're so dramatic. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're a horrible friend. I'm gonna get you fired. And I was just like, you're gonna get me fired, babe? Like, please, what are you gonna do? You're gonna call my work, and what are you gonna say? Mina made a TikTok and she needs to take it down. Like, what is she gonna say? They're not gonna believe her. Like, at this point, I worked there for 2 years. I also was doing content like full time at this point. So I was working there like once a week. Like, I was making all my money off of TikTok. So I'm just laughing like, oh, really? So at the time, I was dating my ex, and my ex had told me that this girl was at the restaurant, he was serving her, and she ran out on a bill, okay? And they were gonna call the cops. And I was like, oh, chill, like, yo, like, she's just she's going through things in there. Just like, ignore it, whatever. Like, I was really, like, I was trying to convince him, you know, it's not a huge deal, like, just let it pass. Because I knew where she lived and everything, you know, but I just didn't want it to get into anything legal. I was like, just leave it alone. And it was like a large amount that they walked out on. So I'm like, oh, babe, like, you know, your bestie has been caught on camera at this restaurant, and I would love to forward that information to the police if you'd like me to. And then I blocked her after I let her know, and I never heard back. Sorry, I'm like struggling to put my lashes on. Oh shoot, I forgot to put eyeliner on actually. Yeah, I was like, cute, like, let's do it if you want to do it. Never heard back from her, but I just thought that was really funny that like she went and called her friend for help. Like, babe, I didn't name you. I'm not trying to give you clout. Like, she's the type of person that would like eat that shit up and like use it to get herself like more followers. Like, I'm surprised she hasn't made a video herself about it, but whatever. Yeah, what the fuck was that? I have not worn eyeliner in like the longest time ever, so that's kind of weird. That was my roommate horror story. This is why I will never let anyone stay at my house. I don't care who you are. Okay, no, obviously if it was my really close friend, but I would set boundaries because you literally never know. Like, it could be your best friend and they could just absolutely disrespect your household because they just don't know, because they just might have never learned what basic respect is. Oh, these lashes are so pretty. Oh my god, like, I don't know how I got myself into that mess. I'm a pretty good judge of character nowadays, so like the minute I sense a red flag from a girl, I will stay the fuck away from her. And like, if I know that a lot of drama seems to follow them. Anyways, be careful who you invite into your home. And I just want to say, like, I went through a similar situation I just don't like how she made a mockery out of it, because I genuinely did go through it where I kind of had no choice. I did rely on my friends to live with them, but I was always so embarrassed to be at my friend's house, and I felt like I was mooching off of them. Like I felt shitty being there. Like I did not want to be at my friends' houses. I wanted to leave as soon as I could, and once I got the money saved up, I would be going to work every single day. Like I'd barely be at my friend's house because, or like whoever's house I was staying at, I would be working all the time. And when I got the money, I booked it. Like I did not want to stay with other people's families. Like I felt so guilty, and she was just, she's okay with it. Like she expected it, you know? She was like entitled. She felt entitled to it. All right, so that was a story of my crazy roommate. The roommate sent literally straight from hell. Let that be a sign to you ladies to not let strangers into your home, especially if you've shown that they don't show respect for their parents, for their friends, etc. Like she had all those red flags. Like why did I think she was gonna respect me if she wasn't respecting her own family, who was so chill, guys? They weren't even strict. They were so chill with her. I'm obsessed how this makeup look turned out. It's a little bit more full glam. Anyways, go check out my podcast, please, guys. It is, you won't regret it. It's the best thing to listen to ever. It's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well if you don't want to watch it on YouTube. And yeah, I'm gonna try to get into the habit of filming more story times. I'm gonna try to post at least once a week. I'm again finally moved in, and yeah, it was so nice chatting with you guys.